As you can see, well, maybe you can't see, but I have some shepherd's pie, one of the favorite dishes of Keith Richards. So I'll be digging into that in just a minute. Before I get any further, I have some shout-outs I want to do, and I have something interesting to show you, something you can listen to. So, first of all, Tina Lancaster. Big shout out to Tina Lancaster and her dad, who is having some health issues right now. So a big shout out to you, Tina, and your dad. Hope your dad is doing well, okay, as well as can be expected. And also RLS AMSR, RLS ASMR. Big shout out to you, my friend. And Joe from Boston wants a shout out for Marilyn, his wife Marilyn, of 43 years. Wow. Joe and Marilyn, good for you. 43 years of marriage. That's amazing. Congratulations to both of you. And a big shout out to all of you as well, okay? A big shout out to the rest of you. So, anyways, I have something to show you here. This here is, Linda bought this down in Mexico years ago. She calls it a rainmaker. It actually does sound like rain, doesn't it? I keep banging the mic, sorry about that. Hope that wasn't too noisy. Anyways, that's Linda's rainmaker. So, as you can see, I've got Keith Richards' book, Life. Pretty cool, yeah. So, that's a memoir. So, well, I guess it's an autobiography, but written in conjunction with somebody else as well. I forget the other person's name. I'm just going to look that up here real quick. I think it's on the back here somewhere. It's a journalist that's known Keith for many, many years. But, anyways, with James Fox. Yeah, James Fox. This is, well, I guess depending on how you feel about Keith Richards or the Rolling Stones, that's a fascinating book. Now, you probably want to know what the correlation is between shepherd's pie and Keith Richards. Well, apparently, Keith Richards is a major shepherd's pie fan. He eats it every night before he goes on stage, supposedly. Now, I bought this shepherd's pie at the store, but I made shepherd's pie on my cooking channel back in 2023, and I kind of gave a nod to Keith Richards, because the recipe I used is very similar to the one that he has in his book. He has a recipe in his book here. I got a tofino, lemon, ginger, kapuchka. Is that how you say it? Anyways, very good. Ginger and lemon. So he's a big shepherd's pie fan, apparently. Now, if I'm still hungry, I got a couple peanut butter cookies that I made on my cooking channel as well. I'll put both the links in my description box. this is a bought one, so it's not that great, but it's not bad. You know, it probably wouldn't pass the Keith test, but anyways. But that's a really interesting book. Like I said, depending on how you feel about Keith Richards or the Rolling Stones, it's really, really interesting. A lot of pictures and stuff, and a lot of stuff that I already knew or had heard about. But you know, he's led a very fascinating life. You know, really has. I mean, I think most people in his line of work lead interesting lives. I remember years ago, about maybe 15 years ago, I read an autobiography by Anne Murray. Now, I'm not an Anne Murray fan. I did see her live in concert once when I was a teenager because my buddy Richard and I got free tickets because his dad was a DJ. I used to get free tickets, so we thought, why not? We're like third row from the front or something, right? And she put on a very good show, but I'm not an Anne Murray fan, you know. I have nothing against her, I'm just not a fanatic. But I read her autobiography. I came across it one time somewhere, and I read it. It was really, really interesting. You might be wondering why I have 2 copies. Well, this book came out, I think, around 2010, and I found a copy in a, you know, a lot of times you go to a store, they got books that aren't selling so well anymore. They got this big bin full of them. And I was digging around, I saw it, so I bought it for like a few bucks. And then just recently, Linda was at Tai Chi, and after Tai Chi, there was this lady giving away a bunch of books. She didn't want to exchange them, she just wanted to get rid of them. And there's a copy of one of these, and Linda didn't know I had it, so she brought it home for me. So that's how I ended up with 2 copies. You know, this is actually not bad. Got a nice flavor. It's pretty good, actually. Yeah, just put it in the oven for about an hour. It just came out of the oven, so it's pretty toasty. But you know, of course, this book covers a lot of the stuff that, you know, like, you know, it's drug use and stuff like that, and whatever, you know, stuff we've all heard about. But Annal's girlfriend's in this relationship with Mick Jagger and other musicians and different things, and you know, things I didn't really know about, you know. I don't want to give anything away, but just you know, a lot of the squabbling that was going on between him and Mick Jagger and all that, and about you know, a lot of money issues they had early on. But it was really interesting. When they first started, they wanted to be like a blues band, you know, like Howlin' Wolf or Muddy Waters, and that's kind of cool. Eventually, he meets all his idols. You know, he meets all these people, and you know, either plays with them or records with them or just gets to hang out with them. But you know, all like him and Brian Jones wanted to start this blues band, and of course, they got, you know, more members of, you know, as time went on. But Mick Jagger was going to school at the time, and he was kind of just available on the weekends to sing and this sort of thing. And they had a piano player named Ian Stewart, who was right from the early days, was actually a member of the Stones at one time, kind of, sort of, and stayed with them, you know, played with them up until his death, you know. He played with the Stones for years, along with Nicky Hopkins and people like that, Bobby Keys, you know. But Bill Wyman was the oldest Stones member, and they didn't think Ian really fit in, so they kind of used the excuse that he was too old to be in the band, but yet Bill Wyman was actually older. I guess Bill Wyman sort of looked the part more. But it was interesting how they started. had a just jamming in a house, and they just started playing a few gigs, and hardly anybody would be there. And then they got a little bit of they did some recording and kind of pushed the record, got a little bit of they did a few demos. I think they got a little bit of airtime, but they started touring, played a lot of gigs and dances. But they got on this tour where there was other bands as well. And they were like the first band on, like the opening act, kind of, right? Within a year or so, they'd be like headlining, so one extreme to the other. But it was really interesting. And now they got Charlie Watts to join and all that. Like I said, I don't want to give anything away, but they kept saying they couldn't afford Charlie Watts because he was already playing in a band. They thought that he would charge too much money. But as it turned out, Charlie wanted to play with him, But, it talks about the death of Brian Jones and stuff like that. And Altamont, the festival in '69, in the fall of '69. They thought it'd be this real peace-loving type thing, and the Hells Angels were doing the security, and it just became a nightmare. Somebody was stabbed and everything, and it was just awful. But he's hung out with some really cool people, had a lot of fun along the way. So it's really a fascinating read. I like biographies and autobiographies and stuff like that. Sometimes it's, you kind of have to believe what's written. What you can choose to believe or not. I remember I read so many things about Bob Dylan. Like, the first biography I read was by Anthony Scudato, I think his name is. I read that in high school. I read it 3 times. Altogether, the first time I read it was in high school. I still got the book. I'll probably do a review on that too. But I read Bob Dylan's autobiography, Chronicles. I first read that in 2005. I was on a plane to Miami from Vancouver. I started reading that. And it was, a lot of it was what you'd already heard, He didn't discount anything, but there's a lot of things where he set the record straight, and that was really interesting. Because it was things that only he would know. And, you can write about somebody, but you don't really know what they're thinking or what they're doing or whatever. But this is a really interesting book. About his childhood. He's an only child. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that Keith Richards is an only child. And, he grew up with very loving parents. But he's never had any siblings or anything, obviously, so. And he talks about different jobs he had. When he first met Mick Jagger was delivering, he's delivering something, was it groceries or something like that? I can't remember now, but, how they first met and stuff like that. This shepherd's pie is quite good. Not as good as homemade, but surprisingly, the more I eat it, the better it tastes. But the one I made in my channel is very similar to the one Keith Richards makes. But see, Keith Richards calls it shepherd's pie, but I think traditionally shepherd's pie is made with lamb, not beef. If you make it with beef, it's called cottage pie. Anyways, don't mean to split hairs. Wow, that's a nice meal. There's lots of pictures in here. Lots of pictures. A lot of color pictures, black and white. It's quite interesting. You know, I remember initially he was called Keith Richard. Not Keith Richards, Keith Richard. I remember those days. Keith Richard. At some point it changed. But he really makes a big deal out of shepherd's pie, which is why I thought it'd be appropriate to have a shepherd's pie while talking about that book. I'm always reluctant to say too much about the books. I don't like giving things away. It's like when I'm talking about a TV show or movie that I saw. I don't want to say too much, so. But a lot of what's in there, you would probably already know if you've been a follower of, the Stones. Well, you know what? They had a bigger one than this. And I thought that this might be too much, but I think this will be just perfect. I could probably eat a bit more. My kids took me out for Father's Day. And by the way, happy belated Father's Day to all you fathers out there. I should have made a Father's Day video, but anyways, I'll salute all the fathers out there. My kids took me out for Father's Day. Two of them, my oldest boy's in Vancouver, he couldn't make it. But my daughter and my son took me out. We went to this rib joint. They've got other stuff, They got burgers and stuff, but I go there for the ribs. I always have this little platter. It's this kind of, they call it the taster platter. We get a combination: chicken wings, ribs. You can have a choice of your potato. I like the baked potato, coleslaw, and cornbread. It was really good. But it was so nice being with my kids. Just, talking and reminiscing and, the things they remember. It's so fun. My daughter, she's getting married in less than 2 months now. So she had a solid plate. I've had a lot of solid plates lately. I've lost 25 pounds. I went from 225, I'm now down to 200. But I was eating, every time I went to a restaurant, I have like a salad bowl or a salad plate or a tuna poke bowl or something, right? And there's my buddy John sitting across from me having an extra large lasagna and apple pie and ice cream for dessert. But I have a lot of people comment on my eating. You have to understand, I don't always eat like this. I do this for my videos. I rarely go out for a hamburger or stuff like that. When I eat that Lee's chicken, I do that that's the only time I eat Lee's chicken, is for my videos. Or any other chicken. Though last night was an exception because it was Father's Day. channel. It's a nice lemon ginger. I'm starting to get a little bit full. Lots of potatoes. Wow. It's actually quite delicious. I'll try to do too much scraping here. Wow. It doesn't beat homemade, but it is pretty good. It'd be nice to have some gravy on that or something. I want to keep this away from the mic. Oops. Ready to scrape the bottom, folks. Sorry about that. Wow. That was actually quite good. I wish Marcy was here. She could lick this clean. Marcy could lick that clean. She does the dishes at our house. She licks them, I just put them back up in the cupboard. Now, my peanut butter and cookies. I made these for my video a while ago. Now they've been in the freezer. They're still a bit frozen. They were initially nice and soft and chewy. But because they're in my freezer, they're still a bit frozen. So I hope you tune in and to my cooking channel. Like I said, I'll put the two links in my box for the shepherd's pie and the, well, not that shepherd's pie, but my shepherd's pie and my peanut butter cookies. My daughter gave me this peanut butter cookie recipe years ago when she was a little kid. Her and her friend had to bake something in, I think it was maybe grade 3 or 4. Anyways, they got all this peanut butter cookie recipe. I remember they gave me a cookies, some of their samples. I said, this is a fantastic recipe. Where'd you get it? And she showed me, so I copied it, and we used that for about the last 20 years. I was at the facility I worked in. That was our go-to cookie recipe for peanut butter cookies. It's really good. It's foolproof. Can't go wrong. They turn out every time. You can really taste the butter. I always use real butter. I made a video a while back. I forgot to turn my lights on. Not sure how that happened, but I did. So Linda, my partner Linda, took off to Toronto yesterday with her gal pal. Her and her gal pal went to Toronto for a week because her gal pal has a daughter who lives there. So they can go visit her and stay at her place. And then tour around Toronto. And maybe go to Ottawa, see the Parliament buildings, a few things. But I told her when you're in Toronto, you should go to the CN Tower, go up there. And maybe go to Maple Leaf Gardens. Well, that's what I would do. It'd probably be of no interest to her, but that's what I would do. I've never actually been. Well, I've been in Toronto. I've been to the airport a few times. I've been to the train station. I can right downtown. I've never actually walked around. I've never gone down to Yonge Street or walked around downtown. And I drove the 401 twice. That was a nightmare. Wow. Crazy. Kombucha. Wow, that's good. Oh man, that was just right. That was a nice meal. Not too much, just perfect for one person. Quite full. Like I said, that's not the best shepherd's pie. I didn't taste any lamb. I didn't look at the directions, but I'm sure there's no, or ingredients, but I'm sure there's no lamb in there. But they should have called it cottage pie, I guess. But okay, well, I think if you're into Keith Richards, you might want to read this book. It's very interesting. Very cool. And if you want to shout out, by all means, hit me up. Just be prepared to wait a week, 10 days, 2 weeks. You know, what I do is when I'm recording my kitchen videos, which I've been doing lately, I record 2 kitchen videos back to back. I'm doing a 3rd one now. And when I do that, I have to make sure I have enough have ASMR videos uploaded because I have everything set up completely different. For my kitchen videos, I don't like to disturb anything, because they're usually shot over a period of several days. My ASMR, I sit down in front of the camera, and, I am done usually within 20, 30, 40 minutes or longer. But my ASMR videos, I record, the cooking one day, then the intro the next day, the outro the next day, or whatever. Then all the editing, and I like to leave things set up. Guess I have to go back and redo it again, which I do over and over and over. You have no idea how many times I do a take, I could never be an actor, it would never work. I'd keep flubbing my lines for sure. But, so anyways, I try, the gist of it is I try and keep as many ASMR videos uploaded so that I can just work on my kitchen videos and not have to tear everything down and go back and do an ASMR video. Make sure I got one out for, for Thursday or Monday or whatever. This way I can kind of relax for, a week and a half. But, yeah, so there it is. It's funny, those kitchen videos are between 5 and 6 minutes long, and they take days to make. You wouldn't think so, but they do. Oh man, that went fast. I'm not normally big on ginger unless it's in a stir fry, but that's really good. That lemon ginger is just right. Yeah, it's good. I like ginger ale, but you can't really taste the ginger that much. So tell me something if you've ever watched that show. It's been off the air now for years, but if you ever watched that show called Everybody Loves Raymond, I'm pretty sure that's ginger ale they're drinking all the time. But if you know what it is, let me know. I'm pretty sure it's ginger ale. It kind of looks like it. Little green stubby bottles. I think we used to call them chubbies. I'm sure they still make those. Maybe they do. But anyways, well, so there's my Keith Richards shepherd's pie video. I'm sure if Keith Richards is performing tonight, he's going to be eating a shepherd's pie. Like I said, I'm not sure how true that is, but he makes a big deal out of it, where if he doesn't get shepherd's pie before he goes on, he's not going to go on to this kind of stuff, right? Yeah, there could be some truth to that, but you'd think he'd get tired of something like this all the time, right? I mean, I love a lot of the same food too, but to eat it all the time, I'd probably get a bit tired of it. And I don't think it would stop me from going to work, well, if I can't have my shepherd's pie, I'm not going to work, I don't think it'd be quite that bad, but I think good old Keith just likes to, keep it interesting, which he does. Well, there it is, my friends. I thank you for tuning in, and I really appreciate all your congrats on my 20,000 recently. You people are just wonderful. I love you all. You're great. So like I said, you want to shout out, hit me up. In the meantime, look after yourselves, look after each other. Stay amazing out there in the big land of awesome, okay? That's where you live. That's where you live, the big land of awesome, okay? We'll see you next time, okay? Bye for now.